Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Sustainable Design Chats. I'm your host, Alex Shield. I am a sustainable interior designer, and I also educate on the social and environmental impact of the interior design industry. So this morning, I am chatting with two incredible women. I have Sweata Patel and Tasha Deane, and they are the founders of Venus and Sons. So Venus and Sons is a new local business in Montreal where they deliver they offer unique, beautiful, thrifted pieces for your home. I'm very excited to speak to you both today. Thank you for joining.
Oh my God, it's so exciting. It's our first live.
Your first live.
It is. Thank you for having
me.
Yeah, we're excited.
I am honored that I am your first live. Okay, so you have created essentially a business out of thrifting, which is so cool, which I love. Can you tell us a little bit about your backgrounds and what brought you to start this business?
Well, I'll jump in quickly as what I can add on to this. So I come from the fashion world for about 14 years, designing accessories, anything from a merchandiser to a product designer to lastly being a creative director. And so, dealing with all the big brands in the US, Nordstrom, Barnes and Noble, Anthropologie, all the big guys. And, it was very exciting career, so much creativity, so much excitement, worked with wonderful people. But then it started to get, I guess, a little icky towards the end where I felt like an idea that came from my mind was then being produced 10,000 times over. And slowly I started, moving away from that type of value system. And so Venus and Sons aligns very much with that, is that there's so much treasure in the world that we are sourcing and seeking that out, and then, not having to produce new.
That's awesome.
Same for me. So I come from the same but different. I come from the beauty industry. I worked in the beauty industry for about 10 to 12 years. I specialized in launching startups in the world of Sephora. And if you've ever walked into a Sephora, it is a treat for the eye. So many new products. There is products left, right, and center. And similarly to Tasha, I was so tired of, selling these products. Every single season there was a new cream, there was a new eyeshadow, there was a new lipstick. And I was just getting tired of all these new products that we're putting live for us to consume and to create, because we're essentially creating a new want and a new desire to have something new. And I was just not called to do that anymore. And Venus and Sons quickly started when Tasha and I were in Rome, and we started doing this just for fun. And I think Tasha was posting on Instagram and just showing the thrifts that we were finding, and people were just like, you girls need to do this as a career. And we're like, ha ha ha, funny, cute.
You asked and we delivered.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're like, cute, but not really, because at the back of our heads, it just kept we just kept going back to that aha moment in Rome when we were like the happiest. And just like a quick, funny, really funny story, but we went into the first thrift store and we kind of disappeared. So I went on my own and Tasha went on her own, and it was this massive, massive thrift store in Rome. And it was like Alibaba's tavern. We got lost completely. And then all of a sudden I'm looking for Tasha, because I'm I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I'm like every couple of minutes I'm like, Tasha. And the employees in there were like, who is she talking to? Because Tasha's not to be seen. And then I realized that there's this whole other area to the thrift store in the back, which I had not even noticed. I thought that it ended there, but you go through the door, and all of a sudden Tasha pops out. She's like, Sweata, I need help.
I'm pretty sure I had a pile of jackets in front of my face.
So you're
it was just exciting.
The same thing, essentially.
It was just about finding, like I said, all this treasure that was there, and it was pre-loved, but taken care of, and European made, and made of quality, and it didn't compromise on the style it was just really we were called to it. And so when we laid out our things at the end of the day, we thought, wow, this is something we could do. Like, we really curated some special pieces, you know, these are like something like candelabras from the 18th century that we're like putting in our checked bag. And it was just, knowing that there is so much available, and this is why we layer on the European component, is because you know, these are things that maybe people can't get to as easily, and they are beautiful, they are made of quality, you know, and they're built to last. And so our sort of mantra is buying less and keeping it forever, or passing it on to someone. These are things that should live forever, and they aren't making things like they used to. And we know this because we've all discussed, we watched the documentary Buy Now, and things are just not being made to last, and we just don't want to be a part of that.
And I think you touched on quite a few points that sort of that speak to me as well. And I think when you're thrifting, there's also there's like the thrill of the find, right? You guys are both also like super excited and whatever. So there's
the hunt,
thrill of the hunt, the thrill of the find, and then there's also that the piece has a history. You know, it has a story, it has character. It's not, you know, you walk into a store and there's, you know, 1,000 of the same thing and everyone's going to have the same thing, and you're going to walk into someone's home and say, oh, you got that at this place, right? Yeah,
right.
too. But I think you touched on a lot of the things too, and the you know, the longevity, the durability, the quality, all of that.
Right.
And that's all, you know, and there are such beautiful pieces out there.
Absolutely.
And the uniqueness, you know, like when you open Instagram and you're looking at a lot of the influencers, you're like, oh wow, her home looks exactly like this one's home and that one's home, that one's home, you know. And where's the uniqueness? Where's the character? Where's your personality? And I feel like these pieces that are thrifted, one, of course, quality, recycled, made of beautiful material, they're unique. And when someone walks into your home and you're presenting this 18th century candelabra that Tasha hauled in her suitcase with her, it's showing history, you know, like it comes from like the Roman times. It's from Rome. It's lived a full life. And now how beautiful is it that it's in your home, adorning your dinner table at Christmas. You have something beautiful to speak about.
Right. It's not just something to be there and to look at. It's a story as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. So,
and I also think the value perspective as well is that Sweata and I, we're an extension of this brand. So we don't pick up things that are out of reach, and we don't pick up things that we feel that we aren't compelled to, or that we feel would be like totally inaccessible to our audience or even ourselves. So we believe in aesthetics, obviously gorgeous pieces and a sense of value, and we also believe that antiques and all of these shops that you go into that are so stuffy and you don't want to pick up anything, and we you know, you ask for the price and you slowly step away. We're trying to make antiquing and vintage like cool. Of course, the vintage market is newer and there's tons of it all over, mostly in clothing, but we found this sort of area where accessories and home decor and watches and different types of things aren't being widely offered as much, and we just want to make antiquing and old things cool again, and hopefully we're starting that out.
You are, for sure, 100%. And I wanted to ask too, because if people are following you on Instagram, they'll notice that you don't just have this, you know, this business where you thrift and you sell these beautiful pieces, you're also educating. So can you tell me a little bit more about what you're educating about and why this is important to you as part of your business?
Well, Sweata, you can jump in, but I feel like we've disassociated from the realities of what's going on, anywhere from the Zaras to the Sheins we've disassociated, and the Amazons, as you know, not a big fan of Amazon. We've disassociated from the fact.
I had no idea.
We've been vocal.
It's because they're not taking responsibility, and it's so, you know, we as a consumer are responsible for our choices, but when you're inundated and when there are formulas and when there's math based on trying to attract you and trying to basically, you know, they don't care where this stuff ends up. And so the education is about, we just have to wake up, and this is not a guilt trip. This isn't about, you know, making people a new mother that's getting, you know, her diapers off Amazon because she can't be running around. I understand the convenience. I understand there's no judgment on that part. It's more about we are ignoring a lot of facts and a lot of information that is fully out there. And so I think easing into some education on our platform while, you know, showing beautiful things, while being a little tongue in cheek, I think is just like a very holistic view of how we want to run this brand. Is that we're not going to be, you know, down your throats every week saying no Amazon, you know. It's just about like, let's just like be smarter with our choices. Let's be more original. Let's be fun. Let's be playful and creative. And I think the education is going to be an important factor in the business.
Yeah, I think if I could just add to that, Tasha was right when she said, we're not here to judge you on Amazon. Like, you know, you're a new mom, you're ordering diapers. I think it's more about educating and about knowing what you're, like, where you're ordering from, what your impact is. So it's when you're trying to be, or you're trying to live a sustainable life, it's not about black and white and doing everything and all of the things right away. You know, it's really through education, starting with baby steps. You know, it could be, you know, ditching the plastic and the single-use plastic and starting to use more, you know, sustainable products. Or it could be ditching, you know, like maybe using Amazon Prime, but not just ordering because you're like one night you couldn't fall asleep and you just saw like a bunch of ads and you're ordering like 16 products. And then the following day you're returning those products, and those products that you're returning are not even being resold anymore because they're just being thrown in a landmine. You know, I think it's more about slowing down and using it to our advantage, because we're lucky to be born in this type of technology and we can't ignore that fact, but being intelligent in how you're utilizing that and how you're moving forward with that and being mindful of that, I think is very important in the education that we're trying to give on our platform.
And also just changing consumer behavior, not because we're trying to be self-righteous, but more about like, let's remove some of the stigmas. Of example, why is it wrong to gift someone something pre-loved for the holidays? Is it better that we click or that we run into like, you know, the Eaton Center or wherever it is and like, you know, fight through the crowds? Why not something that has a story behind it that you can say, hey, remember when we were kids and we used to play, you know, there's this cute little example of this little frog that's a brass antique frog, and you can put your like incense in it or cigarette or whatever you do. And so it reminded me of my cousin Tina, because when we were young, we used to play in the lake and she used to love frogs and we used to always chase frogs. And I would rather give something like that of meaning that says, I thought of you, you know, I see you, you're special to me. And it's not a gift card from XYZ. It's something that actually, when that person looks at it, they'll think of you, you'll think of them. It's just that connection I think we're losing with mass consumption.
I love that. And it's funny too, because so I have two young kids, and all of the clothing that they've had were either, as a baby, I bought their newborn stuff on Marketplace, and then I have friends who are passing down all the stuff from their boys, which is incredible. It's amazing. And then I pass it on after that to my nephew. But all of their toys I bought on Marketplace. And I remember saying to my dad wanted to buy them something, and he's like, oh, what should I get them? I'm like, oh, I really want to get them the Fisher Price food truck. And I found one on Marketplace. And so if you want to just transfer me the money, I'll go get it. And I remember I would talk a lot about things that I bought on Marketplace. And one day he's like, are you guys okay financially? And I was like, yes. Like, what is the, oh, because I'm buying everything secondhand. And I'm like, no, just because, like, yes, we are fine financially. Thank you. But it's just that, like, there are so many things out there. I don't need to buy anything new. I don't want to encourage virgin production of things when, like, a guy down the street is selling it and it looks like just maybe needs a little wipe down and then it's brand new, you know? And when people ask me what I want for Christmas, I'm like, nothing. Or like, either thrift me something or bake me cookies or something, you know, like something a little bit more thoughtful than just like, oh no, I need to get you something. Like you said, you know, you're like running through the malls at the last minute. What do I get so-and-so? What do I get? Oh, okay, maybe a scarf. I have 12 scarves. Like, you know, so I really think that I really love what you guys are doing. And both the sort of the thrifting for us and having these beautiful pieces, but also on the education side of things, because it's not something that we think of when we go into a store. We don't think like, oh, wait, where was this made and who made it, and you know, all of those things. And I wanted to touch, Tasha, on a point that you made. No, sorry, that one of you made earlier. You were talking about. Okay, now I've lost it. Maybe I'll come back to it.
Don't worry, we have tons to talk about.
So many things to say. Oh yes. So I used to work in a call center for a big shoe company, a very popular shoe company. And what people used to do is when you're buying shoes online, you don't know if they're going to fit you. You buy a few sizes, right? So you buy a few sizes, you try them on, you send them back, whichever ones don't fit. But I think what people don't realize, what people don't know, is that when you are returning the things, they don't necessarily go back on the shelf and are sold again, right? A lot of them just end up in the landfill, unfortunately. And so I will ask, if there is something that I'm returning, I will ask, what is going to happen to this? What do you do with your returns? And if I'm okay with that, then I'll return it. And if not, maybe I donate it, or maybe I find another use for it. But I don't usually buy things, so
you
there's nothing to return.
You're asking those questions. It shouldn't be like that, and that's what Tasha and I are calling out. Is that this information should be at the forefront when you're purchasing, so that way you're making a conscious decision based on that. Like, if you know that whatever you're returning on Amazon is going to end up in a landfill, maybe you're not going to order like 6 different colors because you're unsure. And maybe you'll really put thought into it and say, you know what, actually I don't need 6 of them, and this color is, or take more time. You know, you don't have to click and purchase right away. Just take your time, think about it, read the reviews, and then place the order, and then be okay with it. But I feel like right now, the way we're going and the way the world is, it's very easy to just be like, oh, I don't know if I need it really, but let me just put it in my cart and order it. And if I don't, then I'll just return it later.
Another good trick, something that I used to do, is I would leave it in my cart. I would be like, oh, I'd get excited about something, I'd put it in my cart, and then I'd leave it, and then I'd sleep on it, and then I'd totally forget about it. And I'd go on my phone and be like, oh yeah, I did this thing. Okay, yeah, no, obviously I don't need it, right? And then yeah, another good trick. So how does your business work? How does it, like, from A to Z? You guys thrift, you sell it? Like, I'd love to know more. I'd love for you to tell us more how we can sort of how it works and how we can support you as a business.
Okay. Tash, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So Sweata and I are frequent travelers. We do love, you know, experiential things. And so we decided that since we found such incredible things, we found them in Europe. So we figured, hey, why not combine? We are traveling anyway for the most part. That why not combine that? Not taking necessarily extra trips, watching how we consume, but about while we're there, Sweata will be in France, we'll be in Italy. Why don't we utilize these trips as buying trips as well? And so what we do is that we go to all these markets, anything from a flea market to little shops, or and then we slowly start curating different items. We chat with them.
Oops, we lost your
we're
audio.
Losing you. No, we don't hear you.
For the day. It just came up on my bad timing, Instagram, bad timing. But see, different habits, good habits. So we basically source local markets, source European markets. We curate these beautiful things. We bring them home. You know, we take all the guesswork and all the negotiation out of it for you, and we really bring back something like special collections. And so what we want to do is, well, we've been doing online drops on Instagram just to sort of gauge. We're testing. We're a new business, which is so beautiful because we get to test different formats and see how we can reach our audience best. We'll be launching our online shop. We had a pop-up sale, which was so exciting because we got to meet people that got to touch and feel things, and not having to ship things to someone, you know, like having someone is taking their things, they brought their reusable bags. It was just so exciting to see that. And so we're going to try all sorts of formats. We've been working with businesses, which has been so amazing, getting to help them. They're very busy, these business owners. And so we put together, we see what they need, we put together a beautiful assortment for them, they choose, boom, we leave the stuff there, they could, you know, we help them sort
Love
of
that.
place it if need be. And yeah, it's just, we'll offer multi-services, so we're trying to set us apart from, you know, what else is happening in the city and beyond.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I think the important thing here is that we're really curating it. So we're really looking at the item. We're turning around. I think what was interesting is that I met a friend for lunch who was doing who purchased from us, and she picked up, and she was kind of like, I think it was one of the first times that she was buying something thrifted, and she only bought it because she knows me and Tasha, and it was our business, and she wanted to encourage us. And she was like, I was kind of astonished at like how new it looked, you know, like I felt like it would have like, you know, like it would look like it was. And so yes, some of our items do look like that, but that there is beauty in that, you know, beauty in patina, beauty in a little bit of, you know, a little discoloration. But most of the items that Tasha and I picked, we're like examining them, we're making sure that we're okay with it. If we're okay with it, then we're okay to sell it, you know, and if we weren't, we wouldn't have picked it up. So there is that whole aspect of it, but what you guys don't see, especially when we're selling to B2B, is that when Tasha and I leave that place, we do like a little happy dance in the parking lot.
Yes.
Because it's heartwarming that our selection that we curated for these businesses is being loved so much, and is being purchased, and then we get to see them in the restaurants or in whatever business we're selling them in. We walk in and we see it and we're like, that's Venus and Sons.
We did that. That's awesome.
We did that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I think just creating a business from your passion is, you know, something I've wanted to do forever. You know, I love the fashion industry, and Sweata, you know, also loved beauty, and she was great at it. So was I. It's just there was something missing. And so when you do build a company around your passion and your value system and with one of your best friends, it's really this feels right. And we hope that the company can take all different directions, but you know, still keep to you know, the core of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Also, I love that you're a women-owned business and that you're local to Montreal, because I'm in Montreal. Tell me about your name, Venus and Sons. How did you guys come up with your name?
I can't take a lot of credit for it because I think most of it was Tash, but so I'll let her start and then I'll add how it called to me. But Tash, you start with the.
Well, I'm a creative, so I always have these ideas in my mind, but the beauty of this is that it fit. So when Sweata and I started talking, that particular concept, it just fit. And so we were on a trip to Rome for Sweata's birthday just this past February, actually, which is crazy because the business has evolved quite a lot. But in February, and you know, just the way that's how the business started, we really pinpointed that we loved this. But earlier, I think it was the year before, I was on Milos, this island in Greece, and that's where they found the statue of Aphrodite, the Greek goddess, who is Venus de Milo in the Roman mythology. And so there was something about her, just divine femininity. She loved the hunt. She was a goddess of beauty, pleasure, and I mean, that just called to us on so many levels because that's kind of how we live our lives. And I was just inspired by her. Yeah, this incredible, goddess energy, and just you know, even just her her connection to the sea and a shell. And so there's a lot of special moments that Sweata and I have had throughout the last few months of just seeing the symbolism in all of this. And so we thought, and sons, because you know, it's a patriarchal sort of business structure, that it was just assumed that the next generation that a business would be passed on to would be a male. And so Sweata and I are both, you know, strong women, and we are the next generation of and we are pursuing business and pursuing, you know, creative fields and all of that, that why couldn't we be the and sons? And so we shifted it and put it to the sun, which obviously represents so much. And yeah, Venus and Sons. And we knew it right when we were going through all the branding and the brainstorming, it hit. And yeah, we built the branding all around it, which was very easy because it was an extension of us again.
I love that
Yeah,
so
it
much.
called to us.
Yeah.
It just did. Like so Tasha, you saw that when you were at Milos, and then when we were in Rome together, at Villa Borghese, when we saw in the museum, there was a sculpture of Venus there, and she was just laying there. And I remember just spending like an extra few minutes just looking at her, like her curves and how beautiful she looked. And I was just like, oh. And then when she said, like, when Tasha like said Venus, and I was just like, yes.
Yeah.
There was no I was
hesitation.
Like, yes.
We're doing it.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that there's so much thought behind it too. So I thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Okay. So we would love to know how we can find you, how we can purchase from you, and when is your next pop-up?
Okay, so you can find us on Instagram, so Shop Venus and Sons. As Tasha said, we're still working on our website. We are looking to launch it in early 2025. We want to do it well, and we're trying to look at different avenues of revenue. So we've done the pop-up, we've done a lot of Instagram sales as well, which we love. We feel like there is like a special connection when we do Instagram sales because we're able to speak to the person and they're seeing it, and we have an interaction of, if they want to have more information and whatnot. So we will continue to do those. And I think that we have a Instagram holiday capsule launch on
December 3rd.
Yes.
And so we've split it up. It's actually kind of fun. We have a lot of beautiful things in stock, and we wanted to do a holiday capsule that focuses on entertaining because that's a big part of what's coming up. So beautiful platters, crystals, candelabras, servingware, and then also having another capsule sale for gifting, which are these really unique treasures. I mean, we basically want to keep them all. That's our problem, is that we want to keep them all. So sometimes we're like, which ones should we sell?
Yeah.
But no, a lot of unique pieces that have a story, that visually are just so impactful that we can't wait to share them with you. And so that's December 3rd and then December 9th.
Awesome. Do you have another pop-up planned or not yet?
So we'll see. Actually, we were thinking more because we're getting a lot of requests from interior designers and small businesses that we might have a sort of private pop-up, more of a showroom, so to speak.
Very cool.
We're in talks. Sweata and I are working it out, but we might have a private pop-up. But overall, we're working on some exciting things, and so you will definitely know about them if you follow us.
And if you follow us, you'll see that we'll be sourcing in France, December, January, and then late winter, probably another Italy trip. So you'll see all of that happening live on our Instagram.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to share?
No, just it's just about, it's commendable what you're doing as well. Just it's nice to have synergy with businesses, that we're doing different things, but yet there's so much layering. We do come from the same world in a way, and it's nice to see businesses that are putting sustainability at the forefront, and I believe it'll follow in the years to come. I feel that it's going to be promising. A lot of businesses will shift because what the consumer wants, they can't deny that, right? So
that's right.
I think, thank you for this opportunity. It was great chatting with you.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Yeah,
it was great to chat with you guys. We'll have to do another one sometime.
And we have to continue educating. I think that's the forefront of what we're doing here.
Definitely.
But yeah, thank you, Alex. It's so nice to have you, to be on your Facebook Live today.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Have a great day, guys.
Okay.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye.